anything left?
Done everything?
Yeah.
Nice.
You got the proton, huh? No. Couldn't tell.
I don't remember seeing a message popping up, so.
I looked up 1 second.
Oh yeah, we did. How do you activate all the turtles at once?
Jump on them,
Jump on
maybe?
them. Just jump on them.
Hmm. Spin only in a clockwise direction. I think we could do those. All right, gargoyles first.
I think there's two. Two gargoyles.
Oh, we gotta deliver the gargoyles first.
So make sure you go clockwise.
Yeah, they're both on the bridge.
We already went counterclockwise, right? No, that is clockwise, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the gargoyles are on each of the bridges.
Got one right here, the other one.
So XC got one.
Nice.
Let Carly bring hers in here too.
Wait.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's it for the gargoyles, right?
Yeah. Now we just gotta try to keep this thing going. And we gotta jump on those 3 turtles. 3 of them. So at least 3 of us have to jump on. Once it's active.
Carly,
Yeah, it's pink. Like that. I just jumped off.
Alright, 2 turtles in front of me. Alright, so I'm on the 1 turtle. There's 2 turtles. Someone just has to stay on it. That's 1, 2. Third one's to your.
It'll come back around down there.
Where is it? Oh,
Right there.
Gotta make that jump.
Good job.
Oh, sorry,
You got it, right?
Yeah, that should be it. Back there. Trying to do this part. Oh.
Respect my authority!
Look at this book.
I jump around.
The damn statue. Weighing that thing down. I can really tell.
Oh, damn it. Rick, grab that stuff.
Yeah, grab that stuff, right? so we can keep turning and other stuff.
Okay, wait. Okay.
Can I jump this? Yes.
We can get on the other side of it. There we go. There you go.
Give me a little time, man. Give me a little time, man. How about this flow? Give me this beat. Now, Pina, ma. Then let me see you, ma.
Dwight, what's up, brother? How you been? Hold up.
Let's go.
You think we got the clockwise thing?
Hmm? What?
Yeah, that thing's so touchy. That's the one to do.
You want to try it one more time?
I didn't see it go backwards.
I didn't either.
Maybe they like. Well, they probably even count like if it goes backwards even in the slightest.
Probably, which it was bouncing a lot.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm down to try it again.
Okay.
All right.
So should we do like one section at a time then to try and move it as little as possible?
Oh, I like that idea. That idea is actually brilliant.
You can hold it in place.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, let's.
Okay.
Go in, Carly. We're gonna go in that one first. No, go up, man, and get the books. Okay, which one are we doing first?
Which one?
I don't know.
Okay, wait.
None of
Go in there.
Well, we'll start in order. So we'll start
You
with the
can't
one
say
on the
that
left.
one.
My
I
bad,
lost
my
my.
bad. We'll start with the one on the left, and then yeah. All four of us was just running around in circles. Oh,
I had to turn my headset off and on.
We nailed it.
What the
Okay.
hell is going on? So quiet. Alright,
all right. So we're
so we're
going
going
in
to
here.
this one.
Yeah.
Grab that.
Let's
Oh,
see,
we gotta
see,
keep-
you
that
see how
one.
like it moves back.
Still got to
already?
keep turning it. So
Oh yeah. You go.
do it. Yeah.
So,
Excuse me.
I'll get off of this right here.
I wish they had a checklist and like it would show us if it voided or not. You know what I mean? Like,
Honestly, because I feel like it might have already.
I feel like it did.
yeah. Okay. Well,
Fuck.
Let's do
Y'all
the
see it
next
go
one.
backwards?
yeah. You want to do the next one? Yeah. I feel like this one would be a little too frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh damn! I just quit the menu, did I? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Like you said, it'd be too frustrating. 200 out of the 260. The platinum game.
All right, critical. Like, it ain't that bad when you hit 30, bro. I could still get out of my bed and car without pain. Oh, that was for you. Okay, so we did that. Oh, all these are next. Wait, what the fuck did I? Yo.
Hello?
Do you recognize this one? Or are you looking at the guide?
Not too good. But I already know this. Once I get on the map. There's like these 3 mushrooms.
You doing mushrooms?
There's
What?
like a snake picture on the ground.
I would make
Right.
this game for them.
I think there's a style
Well,
crate on this
Tekken?
one. So. But like there's a heart that we have to break.
A heart that we have to break?
A harp. Like
Oh, a harp.
the
Okay,
music.
like the
Yeah,
instrument.
the music. Keep the mirrors from breaking. +1. So I'd probably do that first. Mirrors. One's right there to the right.
Oh, okay, I see the mirrors. All right.
I'm not sure where the other one is.
So those cannot break, but we have to break the harp.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
was about to run up and smack that mirror. I'm glad you clarified.
I think there's 2 of them. I know that one right there. There's the harp.
We can see it right now. I see the harp. But the
think
harp
the
is
other one-
the harp is something that we have to move.
Oh, bro.
So you sure we have to break it?
I got disconnected.
Yeah, it respawns if you break the breakables.
Oh, okay.
I got disconnected.
You did? You son of a bitch.
That's strange. Very strange.
Okay. Does anybody need to go pee pee poopies?
Imagine one of us was just like, yeah, I'm gonna take a fat dump. I'll be back.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past us. Duff! Don't stop!
I do.
Duff. Fat dumps. Okay.
Okay, don't break the mirror, break the heart. What?
Yeah,
Ah.
you got it. You said it.
Oh, oh
Don't.
my god, that's the mirror. I almost smacked it.
How you
The
break
urge
the
is
heart?
real.
You'll be able to crush it between a bookshelf.
Oh.
See those blue bookshelves?
Yeah. Okay.
I got one of the mirrors.
Wait, you broke the mirror?
Oh,
Oh, you
I have
got
one and trying not to break it. Trying to get it out the way delivered.
How the fuck this shit keeps moving? I can't get in there.
Okay. Oh, I see the other mirrors right behind you.
I know, but I got a harp in my hand.
Break that bitch.
We already did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I have the mirror.
No.
Oh, they're screwing me, bro. Mirror.
Why is everything so heavy?
Oh, the mirror broke.
Alright, that's cool. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm gonna feed this.
Wow.
I got crushed. I got crushed. Need help
What
with
are you
that?
crushed by?
That bookshelf, that blue outer bookshelf.
Open the fucking doors. Thank you. Every time I get to the door, it moves.
Where you at? Yeah, because you got that two-player piece. That's how that mirror broke. Mirror's the
Everything
same
is
way.
heavy.
Shit. Trying to feed the snake. I gave him one mushroom.
Oh.
3 mushrooms.
Trying to feed the snake.
Yeah,
Hey,
see
yo.
the picture? It's like a little, I don't know what you would call it. Like this little gold symbol right here. That's the
I was
bed.
not talking about the game.
She was talking about the snake. Ahaha.
Oh yeah, the crate. Crates out here.
Oh.
Oh.
Who's the freaky Donna in here? Candy definitely is.
Ayo.
What does one need to do for a mushroom? That's a good question.
Oh, shit.
Rick, come get this book.
You just say come get this dick.
I sure did, and you came over. So.
I can't go as quick as that.
Oh.
Can't run it. Oh shit. Jump over.
just going through it right now. That's it.
That's that last mushroom.
Oh yeah,
up
that
here.
was
At the
me
top.
talking about the fucking getting pounded like a pizza in the Discord chat.
Yeah, I was wilding out this morning.
That was I. What about the other mirror?
What happened?
The one that got broken. Oh, eating like a pizza, not pounded like a pizza. My bad, my bad. Same shit though, really.
Either sounds okay.
I will take either.
I mean, getting pounded like a pizza is a legit thing. Like, you gotta beat up the dough a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Candy, keep it down.
Never.
Alright, keep the mirrors from breaking. And then the pro time. I think we could do that. How did I not know there was a second one? Moving Out is one of my brain off nonsense games.
Look, they're peepees.
They're not peep.
The watermelon is so cute.
They're peepees, she said. My back needs some stretching, not gonna lie. That's crazy, Allie. You know who could get their back stretched though? Becky G, bro. She a baddie. Alright. So what do we want to do? Do we want to like just mirrors first?
Yeah.
Get them out the way.
What
One
can
right
we
there
do?
on the right.
We can put them in the truck or no?
Yeah, put them in the center.
Oh, okay.
They disappear. Oh, I just heard that one break.
Damn, I didn't know if I ran fast that it was gonna break.
We can't have
My
nothing
big
nice.
ass head just fucking.
Oh, shit.
I just ran at that thing with my big ass head.
Let us out. The other one's over here. We'll break it.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Easy,
Oh my god!
easy.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh.
Alright, we got it done. So if y'all break it,
It's on y'all.
if y'all I was gonna say y'all, it's on y'all. Go in.
No, it didn't break.
It didn't break.
I heard it break.
No.
It does that. It's a sound bug. I just had this discussion like 2 weeks ago with a buddy of mine that I helped platinum. Alright. Well, basically
Everything is
just
a
deliver.
fucking two-man job.
Everything.
Shit.
I feel like we gotta stick with partners. Help.
Yeah, basically just follow somebody and grab what grabbing.
Oh damn.
They locked us out. Don't want us to be fine.
Oh,
It doesn't go.
oh, that doesn't even go. I wanted to keep the mushroom. That's my
Damn.
partner.
Yeah, you wanted to be Carly that bad. All you gotta do is just ask.
Wait,
Move your bobblehead ass. Oh!
Sick of your shit. Oh, that's breakable.
Close the door.
Oh, you bitch. What are you laughing about?
Yeah. A nice shortcut you took.
When you like that? That was good.
Oh shit.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah. Hey, hold on, let the rabbit close it in my face. They did it again. Son of a...
Oh shit.
Got it in there.
I'm trapped. Okay, alright.
Yeah. Room keeps changing on me.
Oh, oh, oh.
Oof. Oof.
What's the pro time?
4:30, I think.
Oh, we might make it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Carly.
Let me in. Let me in.
Where are we going? Damn.
Fuck.
Well, that's
That's the last thing too.
yeah, we get it. We're done.
Hold.
Abracadabra these nuts.
You got the mirror thing at least. That was 440. I feel like we could definitely do that. Carly loves going. Loves going opposite the door turning.
Wait, I thought we were gonna have partners.
Okay, let's go. Me and you.
I'm crying.
Keep dropping that little box.
I want to go for those big ass books outside because those took us a minute.
That's a boost, and I still didn't get
I was helping.
Let us in.
Rick, where did you go? Oh, you're right there.
Okay. Following you, Carly.
Got a book in.
Oh, Carly, damn, she abandoned me.
Oh, she abandoned me too.
That's crazy.
I got stuck on the corner.
Nah, I did too.
Damn it.
Lock these doors. Nice.
Hey. Cut me off.
Oh. Careful, because it breaks. Okay.
Two things: this mirror and the heart. Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you slapping with?
Ah.
We got it.
Honestly, the slapping is like my favorite thing ever.
I like the sound. Like you got a good amount
Yeah.
of meat when you hear.
Yeah.
hear it.
That's what I like to hear. I mean, what?
Okay. Hibernation hostile.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's a gnome.
Scratching
In his
what?
underwear, scratching his ass. What do we got to do here, X? Damn, the
We
pro
gotta
time is 6 minutes. So, you
we
know,
gotta jump on all the beds. Deliver 3 acorns and don't use the slide.
jumping all the
Deliver
beds and
3
what?
acorns.
Deliver 3 acorns. Don't use the sliding door, which that one's kind of tricky. I think the sliding door is in the center. So you basically got to take everything like around the outskirts, I think. And there's a bunch of one-way doors.
Yeah, I see that right now.
It's a pain. So you kind of,
Literally
know
every
what the
door is a
hell.
one-way door.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Basically, with 2 people, we post stuff up in the door and keep the doors up. But with 4 people, I don't know, you might not you're able to grab more things.
Mm.
Have to do that, really.
All right. Oh, it's this way.
The only way we can go.
All right, I'm holding the door open. Help them out, X. Help them out, X.
What do they do? Not gonna be able to get nothing out that way.
No, no,
Oh.
no. Yeah. We'll just pack everything in that room, and then all we have to do
Right.
is just hold that door open.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything
Okay,
else in
so
here?
that's
No.
it for that one.
Somebody hold that door open for them.
Oh,
Harley. Yeah. Hold that
Sorry.
door open.
So we got that one
Yep.
item.
And I'm holding this. So okay.
Trying to see if I can find something I can grab.
You can do it, Candy. I believe it.
oh no, Carly.
Hold
Oh,
on.
there went the sliding. There went the sliding door. Well.
Carly's just. Okay. All right, let's just hurry. We gotta fuck shit out now. Let's go. We could go through the silent door. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you gotta put something on that button.
Come on, ecstasy, come on.
All right. Trying to keep that door open. Yep. Okay.
Books are a pain.
All right, stay there, Carly.
Nice call.
All right.
Shit.
Now opening this door. Oh, damn it.
Gotcha. Oh, there you go.
All right, we gotta start pulling shit out. Okay. You gotta help Carly. Oh no, she just dipped on us.
Can't see.
Wait. Okay.
Go.
Okay. I'm gonna move this out. Move this couch.
I got it. Oh, the couch don't even go.
Oh, the couch wasn't even one of the fucking items.
Help me! Help! Wait, what happened?
Damn, we run out
I
of time.
got kicked out.
Oh, okay. Damn, she doesn't like us anymore.
Oh no.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we ought to just blast through it.
The way she just fucking ran through that sliding door. Are you back in the game?
It's loading.
Okay. Let me know so I can send you the invite.
I got the it's just loading in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm in now.
Damn, Team Snapchat sent me a message. That's crazy.
Snapchat sent you a message
Yeah.
telling you to stop wilding out.
I'm not even wilding out on Snapchat.
Sending your butthole to everybody.
I only do that to Notorious. Actually, I did that to Notorious once. You gotta pick a saved game, Carly, I think.
Not me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. I was.
Wow.
That's my fault. That's
Wow.
my fault. I got distracted.
Just assuming it's me. Always me.
It was her?
It was me.
No. It was the one time it wasn't me.
Was looking at peepees.
Hey, yo.
I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
Do you queen shit?
I mean, I will later.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do that on stream while we're hanging out with friends. Okay, so this way?
What do we have to do with the acorns?
Just
Deliver
deliver,
3 of
deliver
them?
them. They're not an item that's supposed to be delivered. You have to.
Oh. Fuck.
If you put something there and jump, you can jump over the wall.
You could?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. There you go.
Now what?
Look at acorn right here. Wow. The hell? Put it in that room.
I'm just going through the maze.
This way, bro. What's going on here?
Doesn't go. The table doesn't go. I was just using it to crack the door again.
Oh, the beds are so jumpy.
Yeah, we gotta jump on all this.
Oh, you can jump over the wall from the bed. I don't know if you were supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If there's something tall, you can jump over the walls.
I'm like a squirrel right here. I got like so many stuff in this room. Wait, can you keep that door open, Candy, with something?
Yeah.
Cause I'm gonna
Oh,
keep
you
this
got
one
on
open
that
with
side.
this. Ah, shit.
We gotta get that door open. Probably take
No.
stuff out. Can't even get in the room. Was anything else?
Okay. That was like glitched in the door.
Oh, you went this way, right?
Alright. We gotta start the over. Oh, that's a big ass acorn.
Oh, can you open that door?
Hey.
Carly, hold on, I'm coming, Carly. I was like,
I just realized it tells you if it's one or two people.
hold the door open. Ah, damn.
I'm right here.
Hey. Map stuff.
Oh,
How the fuck do you get in that room?
which room?
Oh.
Any recommendations for a movie? Backdoor Sluts 9.
Mhm.
What apps do you have? Did you watch the new Bad Boys?
Start taking this shit.
What?
This stuff.
I was like,
That pro score finna be tough as fuck.
where the hell am I? Oh, back here. Look. I was like, where's the character at?
No, get the harp. Get the harp.
How the fuck do I get this acorn?
The harp is on the floor yet.
We already got it. Those,
Oh, I thought you had to do 3.
yeah, there is 3, but one's
Oh.
in that small room right there. We're about to fill it.
1 minute left.
Alright.
Yeah, this truck's a pain too. Trying to get all this. Harp is not going.
You guys threw it? Did you guys try throwing it?
Help! Help! Damn it.
Oh,
Levels of pain in the butt, bro. So
I don't like
big.
this one.
So many rooms.
yeah, this one's ass, but we haven't even tried it yet. Like, we haven't even passed it. We have to do it once, right?
We have to at least pass
Yeah,
it.
you have to at least complete it.
Ugh.
Honestly, I feel like just grabbing something and running through is quicker than what we were doing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I usually push everything. Well, let's just use that center door and get through it. That's what that's making us take a long time. Not using the center.
Have you watched the new Planet of the Apes, Allie? Man, this book is thick as fuck.
It's gonna be a pain just trying to get all this stuff in the truck. A lot of stuff.
That mushroom right there is good to go. Oh, wait. Okay, come on.
You have to throw this right.
Carly, she fucking
not?
steamrolls everybody.
Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, I see y'all struggling through the doorway, but I need to get past.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Throw it. Oh my god. Alright, ready?
Do it.
Is it gonna let us? Oh, okay.
Oh, that's that big one.
Here.
So,
Get that thing I just threw in there. Oh.
we need this acorn that I have. Oh, never mind.
Damn it.
We got the
Sorry, I
prototype.
didn't know that was the last thing.
We got the prototype though.
Did we?
Yeah.
Let's go. yeah.
I mean, we
I
could
never
definitely
wanted to
do
do that
the
one
jump
again.
all beds. And we could
Oh, okay.
definitely deliver the 3 acorns. And I say fuck the sliding door, like just go through it. I don't care about that.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's 2 small acorns.
So let's go jump on all the beds first.
Ooh, that jumper.
Where the bed's at?
In this first corner. Right
Oh, okay.
here.
I see the second one.
Do we all have to jump on all the beds?
Not supposed to.
You know
I'll
what I'm
have to.
saying?
There's a bed in the next room. So there's like 4 beds right next to each other. And there's another, there's a green bed, there's a yellow bed.
2 right there, too. Fuck.
Oh, I heard it.
Yep. I got acorn number 2.
The other one's in that room with you as well. That little one. Oh shit. We're bringing that all the way. Pulling it back. That's it. Oh, no. Sure.
God damn it.
Fucking candy.
You're my way. Oh, and I went the wrong way. Oh, that's fun.
Oh my god, candy. Candy.
Trying to put that on that button.
Oh.
It'll hold the door open. There we go. Close it. This way.
Which way?
Or that way. Either way. We gotta go through the center.
Oh.
Got all 3 of the acorns.
Okay. Here.
And I'm pretty sure we got all of them. Basically, deliver everything. That's it. Hey,
Grab that. Oh.
Fucking Carly. I came in like a wrecking ball. That's literally her song in this fucking game, yo.
This takes 2 people.
the door just shut.
Open the
Shit.
door. Yeah.
The turd. Oh, something's sticking out right there.
Oh my controller just died. Those you mods.
Literally, hold the door.
My piece.
Gotta get a charger for my controller.
Yeah, they are. Just.
Okay.
We have the like most sad clap happening.
The most sad what?
Clap.
For
Like they're
in
clapping
game?
like. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't even hear it. Let's fucking go. We went
We didn't do
from
that bad with time either.
what happened?
We didn't do that bad with time either.
No, we actually did good. Come, stop, Devin!
Seven, keep it up.
Computer says gnome.
Nasty bitch.
Train to train transfer. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. I wasn't even thinking like that, guys. Y'all just wild. I was
Did
literally,
someone say cock?
I was literally
Sure.
thinking like we have like we're both on separate trains and we have to throw it across like the tracks to each other or something.
That was my nickname in college.
He's pulling his cock out.
Yo, train to train transfer as a nickname is rough. Damn it!
Get all that nut.
All right. Yo, Juice, what's goody, bro? How you been?
But basically, the symbols on the ground are items that we're supposed to deliver them to.
The symbols on the ground. So gems go over here.
This would be chests down here,
What?
and this would be lanterns over here.
Ah, I'm stuck. Oh.
Hey. Oh shit. There I went.
God.
Damn, everything's going good, bro. Just, you know, just chillaxing.
Gotta
Playing
grab
games
the
with the freaks, with the peeps.
Damn it. I fell in it. Keep trying to jump over there and grab that character crate. Damn it.
Fuck.
That's something.
How the fuck do you get the chest on there?
You have to throw it. Team throw.
I'm a team throw you.
Damn. Okay.
Hey. Damn it. I got stuck on the train and went into the cave.
Ah, oh, I got one. And I'm stuck. No, oh well.
If we die, we die. If we got the chest off.
I just Kobe the shit out of 3 of these jewels.
What are you looking at, Goldfish? Got it!
Kobe.
Damn, mine.
They're heavy as fuck.
This one's sitting on top of the chest.
Alright, who's doing lanterns with me?
Jewel.
Oh, Jewel.
I grab it.
Kobe!
Jewel right here. Alright, there we go. Liner, right? Oh, no liner.
I pressed the wrong button.
Respect my authority.
I think the second one. Oh, the second one. Oh, the second cart was empty. The second cart, Carly, the second one.
We cheated.
Damn, pro time 4 minutes. Oh, we can actually do that. Keep
Deliver
the
all the
gems
chests
dry,
first.
which means the gems cannot fall in the water. Fill a carriage with all of the same item. I think the only thing you could do that with would probably be gems. Everything else is too thick. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so shoot the gems all into one cart.
I mean, I could do that if y'all want.
Oh, go ahead, Kobe.
Dazzle hoof. Oh, a unicorn. Wait, does it have a gun on its forehead in the last one?
My God, the one with the gold tooth.
Does it have a
Are you
gold
serious?
tooth?
Yeah.
Wait, but is the last one a
Carly,
gun on its head?
can we be unicorns? I think it's a hammer.
You think it's a what?
I think it's a hammer.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it now. Okay.
The guide says the easiest one is the lantern.
Yeah. How many lanterns are there? How could we put all of them in one cart?
I don't know. Maybe there's 6 and they perfectly fit 6 into one cart.
All
I'm not
right.
sure how many there
Oh
are.
yeah, you just have to line them up then.
So the chests need to be delivered first. See, that's the thing. You're gonna have.
So we gotta pull all the chests off of this train.
All right, so I'm going to just move the gems here. Lanterns go up there.
Shit.
All right. Lantern out.
Oh, fuck.
Ecstasy with your high ass. You gotta pull shit out.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. But game's bugging on me. Like, not letting me grab stuff. Does that on co-op all the time. And then it just kick back in. See? Did it again right there. Oh, it's falling me in. Where
I'm
am
gonna
I?
move this fucking lantern.
Yeah, we need to do that.
I was totally looking at the wrong character.
Is that a lot?
Damn it. I don't put that on yet, right?
No. Oh.
Chest first.
Okay, we move these lanterns out of the way. And let's move this lantern out of the way. Alright. We got 2 more chests. No, don't put that in yet, Ken. Let me help Carly first. Right here. Next. Alright.
That's all the chest.
That's
We
it
got
for the
that
chest.
objective.
Right?
Yeah, that objective's out the way.
Alright, wait. How many lanterns are there? Oh, shit.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's more than 6, bro.
Yeah.
There's 8.
I don't know. Maybe they have a
If we
system
throw it on
this
there?
guide. Yeah, because how can I don't understand how,
You're not my dad!
unless you put them on one of these
Something ugly
instead of the screen it actually goes on. Because the duels are just gonna disappear when you throw them over there, don't they?
Oh, fuck.
Or do they stay in the cart?
You're not my dad!
We'll put them all in the first one, Carly.
Yeah, they must not be accounting for the difficulty or. And it's just an increased volume.
I just say just fucking throw them in, cause we could probably get pro time if we hustle.
Okay.
Okay.
We're trying to get no gems wet, so.
Oh, or we could do that. God damn it!
Shit. Oh.
Oh damn, we didn't get the pro time. Okay.
Yeah,
And we didn't get the gem thing either.
we restart since we didn't get any of them.
No, we
Oh,
got,
we got one.
the chest ones first.
Yeah, we got that one out the way.
Never mind.
Obi. 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 Obi.
Because there was way less gems when we did it. That's how we did it. We did it with the jewels. We didn't put them on. Like,
Alright, we definitely could do this. I think the gems are the ones that we have to fill with the same.
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be the easiest one.
And then keep the gems right. Alright, I'll try that.
Let's get the stuff off the carts first.
Yeah.
I'm lost. Where's my character? Oh, I died.
Damn it.
I got it off, though, barely. Oh, shit.
I was grabbing different ones.
Oh well. At least we got this crate. Two more lining jackets.
Oh, get that gem. Oh.
Hey, I'm stuck on the train.
Alright, so far the gems are all fitting in the same.
Yeah.
Obi. Obi.
Oh,
Shit.
Sorry.
I keep getting trapped on this.
My game like glitched so hard.
Alright, lantern. Oh shit.
Kobe.
Oh shit. chest fell off. A chest just spawned in. Oh, it's gonna fall off.
Damn it! I'm sorry, Carly. That was my bad.
Sorry.
I gotta get this character put on too.
Oh, that
Is it maybe?
I get Proton. Can you pass me that gem?
Lantern on me as well. That one's about to fall.
Damn it. First one.
Alright, I got all gems in one cart. Oh, damn, we missed one.
Close.
Alright, so you got Phil Cadre the same item. You can do pro time, I think.
You want to go for gems or dry too?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it.
Shit, I walked right off the platform. Fuck, I did it again.
So.
We got it. Take that lantern off.
Obi.
Oh. Trying to get this lantern.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, it reappeared up there when I knocked it off anyway.
Oh, nice.
I suck.
Oh.
Oh, we have to get them both in this one for the pro time.
It'll be that last part, I think. I'm not. Last part.
Did you get it?
Nah, chest fell off.
Motherfucker.
Ah, okay.
You didn't get the Genesis Dry?
Oh fuck, I did.
Oh my god.
I just quit because I was like, damn, we didn't get the pro time. All right, well, oh, don't worry. Let's just go.
Okay.
Take all this stuff off. Watch that jump.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's sketchy.
Kobe. Oh no, the jump fell. Damn. Kobe.
Fuck.
Oof. Got that one off.
I'm sorry. I was trying to help.
It just murdered me. Damn it!
Honest. Oh shit. Masika, what's up, queen? Masika, I've missed you. Oh shit, my gems.
Couldn't hold it.
Oh god. That was tough.
This one? No, second.
Right here, Carly. Carly.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty cool.
All right, we got the pro time at least.
Maybe we don't gotta get it.
Count.
Oh, that's on. Maybe it's on. Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna miss one gem. All right, let's move on. Oh, what was that? Hello? Ooh, what did we get? You found a style. Wait, what is this? You see the pigtails? I'm about to rock that shit.
Do it.
Looking like Wendy.
That's the mascot in France. The French Wendy's.
Oh, we outside now. Yo, Mas, did we work out today? I don't like how that map looks.
there is another hidden crate somewhere too.
Yeah, I believe it. Oh, dang.
Treetop train.
Train time.
Okay. What do we got? What are we looking at here, X? Damn,
Okay.
bro time 8 minutes, bro.
Okay. Only drive clockwise.
This is gonna be hard.
There's a train basically that we have to put stuff on and put it to like. I think this.
But you said only drive clockwise?
Yeah. Train goes all the way.
But we drive it?
Yeah, we drive it. But there's also a handle on the back. Use the one on the back.
It goes counterclockwise.
And another optional one is put all the flamingos in the same carriage. I think there's 4 flamingos. Basically,
okay, I see one under us right there.
Like, hit X until you get to the part where it shows us the whole map. Basically, there's four parts. A pink part, a purple part, a blue part, and we have to bring all their beds, TVs, toilets, whatever to those certain areas. But the last option, match the bed to their room.
Oh wait, this is unloading?
Yeah, this is moving in.
Match the bed to the room. What does that mean?
So like the bed is gonna, when we pull the bed off the truck, it's gonna be a certain color.
And there's a shape on the rug.
Yeah. See how the room's got a certain shape to it?
Yeah.
That's how you match it on the pillow on the bed.
Okay.
So basically that sun one is that top right bit of the circle with the
I
little...
want to drive the train.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll do this more than one. Oh, they're already going counterclockwise.
Fucking.
Oh, motherfucker.
The best part is she dipped without any fucking items. She just said, you know what, fuck it, we out here, we're done.
She just took off, left and south. Not a good getaway driver.
My day was okay. I got the
She left us in the bank as soon as she dropped us off.
I took the wrap off my tattoo. So now you can really see.
Oh man. I don't know if we ought to do it room by room.
It gave me like a little rash
like,
over here.
One fridge, one toilet, one TV, one bed.
But my day was good. I just did my normal shit. I got my juices.
Looks like they're all really heavy.
And I
right
played
now.
a little bit with my nephew.
Yeah, they are.
Played some football with my nephew.
We
That's
cheated
about
when
it.
we played this. We had assist on because it was just me and one other person. So we turned all 2-player items into 1-player weight.
Oh, I already broke the plan.
What are you? You fucking.
Just stack these beds up in there nice and neat.
Wait, no, don't move it yet. Don't move it yet. Let's load up beds.
Which I wanted to put all the beds or each or
Well,
one
at least
each?
just the 3 beds, and then we'll stop. You know, we'll stop when.
Can't get it in.
Where you at?
Rick, you're muted, by the way.
What happened? Was I muted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
You're
No,
good.
go
I
all,
could like kind of hear you because I have stream on like
oh,
1.
can we go all the way down? Oh no. Oh,
Where you-
Oh shit. Oh.
Oh shit! I fell in between the trains.
okay. Hold on. I think we could only do 2 beds.
Don't hit the
Oh,
trigger.
you're trying to put this on there? That's what you're trying to do?
I was trying to put 1 bed on each cart, but I guess not.
Oh no, I'm talking to Carly.
Ready?
I mean-
No, I'm always trying to. I'm wondering.
Oh,
I'm
they
always
want
wondering what Carly's trying to do. Wait.
Yeah.
This is the
I was
first.
trying to break.
Tell me where to go.
This is. Oh wait, we got triangle and we got rectangle. So look for those 2 patterns. What's this? This is diamond.
Diamond.
Triangle.
Diamond.
Oh,
Triangle's pink.
All right, so we'll stop right here for triangle.
here.
Gotta bring this bed. there goes Carly.
We knocked the whole front door down. What else we got on
I
there?
got the flamingo.
Toilet. I need a toilet. Yeah, we gotta put all the flamingos on 1 carriage.
They're gonna go up here with me.
You sure? Or you want to put them all the way in the last one so that it doesn't get in your way?
Yeah. Well,
Is
that's
it?
where we're landing, though.
Oh,
Did we bring this with us or something? Somebody brought
Let's
this in
just
here?
Bring them with us. Oh, god damn it.
This doesn't go here. This couch. Whoever brought this couch in here.
I can't get over and move the train.
Okay.
Oh, we lost the
My
flamingo.
flamingo!
We lost Carly again. What is going?
This couch does not go here.
Oh, wait. Who brought a couch?
I don't know. And we're getting lost.
Okay, and we lost our, our fucking train right.
I'm about to lose this too.
Oh, just let me go, bro.
Oh, that's you?
I'll never
Yeah,
let you
I'm
go,
on.
Jack. Oh,
Don't let's go.
So I was leaving
Yeah.
at 5
Yeah, we
o'clock.
messed this one up pretty bad.
Get in!
Damn couch.
Man!
no, I'm good. Carly, no! Wait. Stop. Let's put this bed on.
Shit.
Buy ecstasy by
Oh
Carly.
my god. Oh shit. We're doing great. Oh, my flamingo.
We'll take a solid.
It's already almost even.
Oh, yeah, push this. We'll get yeah.
Put that food in there.
Okay, ready?
Oh, let's push this in. My character just ripped mad ass right now.
I'm taking this with me.
You are? Which one? Oh, that. Okay. Wait, Carly, what are you trying to? Wait, Carly, what are we trying to do? Wait. Carly's trying to do something. I'm trying to communicate with him.
I don't know what.
Carly, what the?
We don't need anything. We can't
I'm
fit
leaving.
anything else.
Carly. Okay. Wait. Is this what room is this one?
This is the square.
This is square?
Is it square?
This
No.
looks like a sun.
It's circle. The bed we don't have.
Okay, so this one is square.
Yeah. This purple's diamond.
Where's my
Where am I?
flamingo?
I got it. I put it in.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
Hey, get that out of the way.
I don't know where this goes.
We go through the door.
Oh, it goes over there. We have to take it with us.
Oh my god, this stuff goes other places?
Yeah,
I guess.
there's items already in here that.
Said
Oh.
I've never played on this difficulty with this, so it's different. Like they don't have other items in other places. That's confusing. As hell.
Does the couch go here?
Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, couch.
Yeah.
What about? We need a fridge.
Does the
or not?
fridge? I can't see.
Yeah.
No, the fridge I don't think goes here. What?
That's it for this place, I think.
Wait, not where anything goes.
Wait.
All right. This
couch.
bed goes here. This is a diamond bed. That couch goes somewhere else.
Okay.
We're just gonna have to put it to the side and bring it before we leave.
Harley's doing jumping jack.
This fridge? Yeah, this fridge goes here.
Oh shit! I fell off. Where'd I spawn at? They try to get you with that. They spawn you over there on.
Oh, whoever got that little box.
Yeah, I'm stuck back here with it.
All right,
though.
hold on.
I got
Got
it.
it. Oh, did it break? Where's this go?
What are you doing to my flamingos?
I'm trying to drive. Trying to drive the damn train.
Oh, we need to take this couch with us.
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
my
flamingo's
flamingo.
falling off. I don't know if that's gonna count as a carrot. That's not
Well,
a carrot.
At least we have it.
What are we missing?
Dad.
One flamingo?
Oh, the couch goes here, I think. Stop.
Yeah, couch goes here. For sure. Oh, where's this thing go?
Oh.
Not here.
You gotta move it down a little because we're gonna have to put a fridge and a TV in here. What does this? Where does this go?
Nah,
The
I'm not
next
sure.
one.
Those pieces I've never seen in them.
All right, so we gotta get in a
Don't know.
fridge. What, stop. We gotta get a fridge in. No, we can't get in. Okay, so we got a fridge and we gotta get a TV. Got another TV in here.
Might be able to fit this fridge.
Just careful.
shit.
Oh no.
Oh, no. I crushed that one. That's why I don't be messing with that that dumb cart on them challenges. Cause you'll accidentally grab that. Try to get on with this.
Alright, we could hold on to it.
Stop right here, Candy.
Alright.
in here? Yeah.
Oh, you bitch. Oh, and I don't have anywhere to spawn because there's stuff on the. Oh, okay, it did.
Shit.
Oh, yeah,
I
close
don't
enough
know.
time.
Oh, that round thing doesn't belong in there.
Damn.
The round thing does just over here though. It's the
Oh.
couch that doesn't belong there. Behind you, Carly, that couch. Yeah, that gotta get out.
Anything else goes here? Damn,
Uh,
mailboxes
ain't
got
no
y'all
way.
jammed
We
up.
got 30 seconds. No, ain't no way. We gotta start all over.
Uh,
This one's crazy.
You know what we do? Instead of like all the beds, we pick a bed, take a fridge, a TV, a toaster, or whatever. What else? Fridge, TV, toilet. You get what I mean? And we do one room at a time.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So grab the first room first. What shape is that?
the first
That's
room was a
the
circle,
sun.
so we gotta move this bed out of the way.
Okay, so grab this out, and then grab this out.
Yeah. Okay, now we got a toilet. We got a toaster.
Move this.
Put that on top of the bed. And now we
Okay,
just
you
need a
have the
TV.
toilet.
A TV.
Okay.
No, we already got a toilet, I think.
I was just trying to move it out of the way.
Oh. Okay, so we should be good. All right, let's go. First one. That should be good. All right. Oh no, this one doesn't get a toaster. It's the next room that does. This one does get a toilet.
I got the bed.
Let's move this back out. All right, somebody help Candy with the bed. Fucking Carly.
Oh my god.
It's an accident.
I just love seeing her at work, bro. Like, oh, Carly, I love it. Okay. Oh, we forgot. Oh, no, that blue thing we find in another room. All right.
Okay.
So we did all we can here. All right, move on.
God damn it, flamingo.
I'm holding this couch to see where this couch goes.
Do you want me to go all the way back?
Actually, yeah, I guess. Unless you wanna take this time to like. Oh, wait, stop here.
Grab that couch.
This couch, please. Gotta go inside. Actually, we could. We have a toaster, don't we? We could put the toaster in there. Or do we not have a toaster?
Yeah, it's right there.
Something right
I
here.
don't see
There you
it.
go, there you
Oh,
go.
there you go. Yeah, that could go up there. All right, we have a couch. There's another flamingo here. Oh, we'll come back around for it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll come back.
All right.
Okay, the couch goes here.
Let's put the round
And
couch.
take that couch out.
Yeah. Okay, so we gotta take this couch out. Candy, get your ass out here too.
Oh,
Fucking
it's
door.
like, cause then it's hard to get the driving spot.
I got
Throw
your
it through
driving
the,
spot right
throw it
here.
through the thing.
I can't grab it.
I don't think we can.
Oh yeah, this is this. What was happening last time?
What?
Should have thrown it out that damn window.
Wait, let them go first. All right, now we should be able to go through your side. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, just stay on the driver's seat. All right. So we need a toilet.
Which bed?
A toaster. What's next after circle?
It's
I think
square.
then it's the square.
Okay.
Yeah, square. No, fridge.
Oh,
Good
okay.
job. Okay. But no, we already got a toilet.
Oh,
We need just a TV. And we should
okay.
be
Everybody on.
we should be Gucci. Are you good? Right. All right, here, right? All right, this comes out. Right here. And then take the bed out.
Through the window, right? Okay.
If you want. You gonna throw it?
Sir, yeah.
Wait, I'm
Does it
off
throw
the
it?
I'm off the
Oh, yeah.
platform. You gotta pull. Oh shit. Alright. Alright, go. Something
This
else
one
belongs
doesn't
here.
get a
TV, I
toaster?
think. Alright, this room is completely finished.
Yep.
Is there a fridge in this or no?
No.
Alright.
Ready?
You got your flamingo?
Yep. I'm gonna stop here so you can drop that shit off.
Shit.
Alright, what's this next room? Diamond, right?
Yeah.
We gotta get diamond bed next. Oh shit, she moved. Carly, good. I mean,
That fridge goes in
X.
there, yeah.
yeah.
And does that round thing go in there?
This thing goes.
No, the
with
round
us.
thing we took from in there.
Yeah.
This thing goes with us.
Goes
Nothing
in like
else.
the last room.
Okay, ready?
Yee.
Fuck. God damn it, flamingos! Oh my god.
You know what? You know what? You know what?
Fucking fuck.
Flamingo, flamingo.
Okay. she was about to wall out, yo. Oh wait, do we have anything for
Here?
this toaster? We got a toaster, right? Right by you, right,
maybe
Carly? I
one-
thought. Under these guys? Yeah.
Where does that fucking round thing go?
The round thing goes in the first room, the circle room. We need a fridge and a TV for this one and the bed. All right, so next is Diamond. Diamond needs, I see, a fridge. Go this way.
I got the shitter.
Okay. Do we have a fridge? Right here, fridge.
The bed?
No, we already got the
Oh,
bed.
we already have the bed. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we out. We outie. We're gonna have to make a stop in this first one.
For that round thing.
All right. Keep going. Keep going. I'll just drop off, and you guys, and I'll spawn.
That other thing goes here as well.
Well,
Not just that round thing.
oh, okay.
whatever
All right.
this
Yeah. Just keep going.
shit is.
Me and him will just jump off and spawn.
I don't know what to do. What's this?
All right, right
Doesn't
here.
go here.
All right, Carly.
Yeah. I got something else that
No,
doesn't
wait,
go
what do we
here
need?
now.
No, the bed. This doesn't have a fridge. Does it?
The bed, the bed, the bed.
Oh wait, go into the. And then we need a toilet in here.
Fuck, it's too far.
Yeah, we don't have a toilet.
All right, so then we'll just go.
Oh, there. It's on the front where the thing is. But we can't. Yeah, we can't go backwards.
Fuck.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to go backwards.
No, maybe not. Get something.
Yeah, put this here.
Put it here. And then stop on it and go. There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. Now put this
Okay.
back.
How do I do it?
Go. Pull the stick.
It keeps grabbing that toilet.
We're a fucking mess.
All right, right here is good.
Right here.
Is this one in the toilet?
Oh, we're about to fill this.
Yes, this needs
Yeah.
a toilet.
Does it need a TV?
Yeah. All right, just start going. Last bed, last toilet. We got 30 seconds.
I got piece,
Alright.
some piece
Where
over
does
there.
the toilet go?
We got a piece right
toilet,
here.
Toilet goes right before. Damn. Toilet goes in the one that we couldn't jump onto. We had to keep going 14 seconds. I don't think we're gonna make it, but
I don't even know where this piece goes.
just hold on to it. Oh, the same
There
one the
it
toilet
goes.
goes on. So right here. Let's get out.
Second.
No.
I'm gonna keep going. Oh.
All right, we just had a couple of hiccups there, but I think our thing works. Just a little, just a couple of hiccups.
So I think we gotta just leave the flamingos until last. Like
Okay.
when we have one item left. So like take the flamingo to the next place and then to the next place. So that all four of them are at the last place.
Or we could always
know
just
what I'm
bring the
saying?
flamingos back here by the truck. No? Or no?
Well, because we would drop off the last item before we got back to the truck.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you. All
Okay.
right. So we got circle bed in the back. What do we need? From here, it looks like we need a toilet. We need a fridge. We don't need a toaster. We need a TV. And is that it?
Is it?
Bed, toaster, TV. Yeah, and then something else that we have to find in another room. All right, let's go. Fridge. Oh, sorry, Carly. My thick ass.
The shitter boss.
We gotta move this out.
Want that lamp thing too in there.
Gonna throw the bed through the window.
Oh yeah. Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Get my
You said there was another piece here. What was that other piece you found? Oh, that one. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, this one I have.
All right, go ahead.
Here?
Just slow down, stop. Let's grab
I might have to
this.
grab some.
Oh, good.
Oh, what all is on here? Oh,
We had a toaster here, right?
yeah, it's in the corner. I can...
Okay, yeah, there we go. Put that toaster in. All right.
Hey, guess what?
Stuffy.
Not again. Wait, did we do the clock? No, we didn't. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, still on there.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, you got
Oh, okay, go.
All right, I'm stopping here. Take that couch and put it in.
it. Chair goes here.
Yeah, that couch goes in. And Carly just soloed that fucking couch. You guys seen that shit?
That other thing goes here as well.
Oh, that scale.
The
Yeah,
globe.
the scale on top of the kitchen right there by you.
Nice car.
Oh, you were in there. Ecstasy. The scale inside the kitchen. It doesn't belong there.
Probably won't. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let me know when y'all ready. Yo, Noto?
What are we doing with this? What's going on back there?
Yeah, just all right. We
Okay,
gotta
go.
take the flamingos to the last stop. So flamingos go over here. We're gonna swap out the couches.
Oh. This is good. That don't look.
Okay, let's get this couch.
Shit.
Let's get this bread.
All right, throw it in. Throw it through the window. Oh, we gotta. There's a mailbox there. Oh shit. Okay. Okay. No, it's okay, bro. Right here. All right. Okay, bye, Candy. What's next? Next is square, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bed I have.
All right. So it's the bed that you have. What else does square need? Let me see if I can see from here. It looks like it needs a TV, a toilet,
Alright, we have both those.
and it looks
And the
like something
fridge?
extra that we picked up from another place. So,
Alright, let's go.
wait. Okay. Stop right here real quick because I think we have this piece, right? I think it goes up. Move a little forward. Yeah, this goes in here. Nothing else goes in
think-
here. So this room is done, right? Oh no, wait.
No, something else goes in there.
Oh yeah, the scale that you got from the kitchen. So that's over here.
They're like, I'm like under the mat.
It's right here. Okay. All right, this is good. All right. Go on to the next one. All right, wait. Okay, this one is all right. Bed first, I guess.
There's no fridge on
Through the window, right?
You want to do it? Well,
Like we did last time.
okay, televisor.
Right.
I got the TV
Or
right
is that
here.
the next? Let's see.
Where does the couch go?
The straight couch, yeah.
There. Look at this.
Right. And then we're done with that room.
This goes in the next room.
Yeah, that room's done. All right.
So sorry.
Both of these items go in that purple.
All right, we could do stuff here. You got a fridge and the toaster for this one. All right, so this next room, because this is gonna be our next room, we need the bed and we need a toilet. Okay, bye, Carly. You think we could do both beds?
Yeah.
One in
Yeah.
each cart?
Put them in. You can
Wait.
put one in 2 carts. Put in there sideways.
This way. Yeah. There we go. And push it in. Ooh, we could probably get proton, guys. Oh,
I need to get everything we have left on
all right.
that toaster.
Oh, toaster. All right, we out.
Just figuring out what goes where. What's left.
Well, the next room is just the bed and a bed in the toilet. No, next one.
This one is done.
Yeah, this one is done. Is the next one. Next one is just the bed in the toilet.
Oh, we didn't get proton.
Don't worry.
Fell off.
Wait, is this diamond? Yeah, this is diamond. Never mind. Wrong bed. Sorry. Oh. I got you, Carl. And I got you. You gotta go into your right. Go right. You go right. Right.
Oh,
There we
the
go,
other,
yeah.
the other right?
The other. Good. And he's in there. All right, let's go. All right. Oh, no. Because now the mailbox is in the way now.
Go to the thing.
What are you gonna do? Oh, this way? Okay. Oh, that's
Put
in
it
the
through that
mailbox.
window. Put it through one of them windows.
But
Yep, there you go.
Gotta get the goes back on the carriage.
I got the flamingo.
Alright.
Oh no.
Oh, this couch is kind of bad. Lower it. I went off the side. Shit.
totally radical.
Hey, wait, you guys swept? What'd you guys do? Yeah, you're in a 3.5 today, Notorious. Full day back. Had to help mom and sister out. Garage sale. Didn't get to be lazy piece of shit I wanted to be today. But you got to go to White Sox game? Yo, that's what's up, bro. Did you have any glizzies? Did they remind you of me? Oh shit, you guys got the same record as us. So you're tied for 6 with us.
How in the fuck?
How did we not get drive clockwise?
The only thing I could think is if, like, somebody, like,
Clockwise.
knocked it accidentally.
Tackle.
Is it like your other clock?
I stay off of them things. Unless I'm on on.
Yeah, I haven't touched it once.
I definitely haven't touched it either. It's probably gonna go down a point differential, Steven. Between you and us.
Could just be buggy as well.
I'm okay with moving on.
Me too.
Moving on.
I also know that it is 11:27, so you guys let me know when, you know. We're almost at 8.
I
There's an
like
arcade
midnight
cart and
and take the pup out.
What happened?
I like call it quits at like midnight and take the dogs out.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for your time. Oh wait, there's a crate up there. Hold on. How do I get up there?
Over the bridge, yeah.
Oh, you gotta go on top of it. Yo, Steel, what's up, bro? Hey, ¿qué pasó? Oh, no, they're gonna show us though.
puppy dog.
Is the dog okay?
I don't think it is.
It's
It looks beat up in every single version.
the one has a cone. The other one's an astronaut. I don't know. That one doesn't make. I mean, I guess the first dog in space or something. But what the dog doing? Oh, Phantom has 14 L's now. Oh, so they drop lower than us. So then we might be 5th or okay. Okay. Well, shit. Thank you for sweeping them. Yo, GG's to you guys, man, because I know you guys were under 500. You guys fucking fought back. Ah, aqueducts. What? Wait, what the fuck are we supposed to do?
Deliver the item on the floor.
Each
To that
item goes
aqueduct.
into the aqueduct. That I get. How? Oh, with the train.
Oh no.
With the train, we're supposed to move them around. And there's 2 separate trains, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta pair up then. Pair up in 2s.
The orbs have to be delivered first.
A what?
The orbs. These things.
Those
that I have
things? Where do they get delivered?
right here.
Oh, okay, so let's go in the trains and grab orbs. Wait, what the fuck just happened?
No.
Someone got kicked out?
Oh, it was me.
Orb.
And she didn't like us anymore.
We are not friends.
That's crazy.
Deliver all the.
Bitch.
Put all the gems. Send the flamingos down each of them. Sounds wonderful.